All right, we're recording. Yeah, hi everybody. I've reached out to Lavette because Lavette had expressed on her recent video that she had her appendix removed, and I had discussed this with several people before about our appendix and what that entails, just because of the name of it. And what do you have to say about that, Lavette? What do you think is to do with that whole thing?
Well, first, I've mentioned this several times in different videos over the years, and I actually have a high number of subs that have had their appendix removed. When I mentioned it, they started coming forward. So I started paying attention to the pattern. And now here, years later, I still find that when I have new subs, that we have a lot of things I call common denominators. And one of them is I have a high number of negative bloodlines and a high number of people who've had their appendix out. And what you would call the awake crowd. They come to my channel. If you're not awake, you don't last there very long. It's pretty deep. But an appendix to me is something that's in a book. It's put at the end of the book. It's added last. And it's supposed to be there to help you with the information, right? The manual. But to me, it's almost like a kill switch in humans. I believe it was added after the original template of man. And I always refer to it as the Harkonnen heart plug in Doom, right? Everybody gets one. And if they don't like what you're doing, boom, one certain frequency or a ritual spell, whatever, your number's up, kill switch. And until 100 or so years ago, if your appendix ruptured, you died. People still die from it today that don't make it to the hospital in time. So to me, the appendix was added. It's a kill switch. And it's those of us who have had our appendix ruptured, it's becoming pretty apparent that one of the reasons we're awake is because the script has run out. We're not supposed to be here. There's no script for us. We woke up. Where we are, to me, we're the real NPCs. We're the non-programmed characters. We're the non-players because we don't have a script. We're having to ad-lib our lives. We don't fit in anywhere. There's no mold for us. We find rejection on all sides, and our lives just seem to be a mess. It's like we don't belong here. And we can become very alienated, isolated, secluded, depressed. But now that we have the internet, a lot of us are finding each other. In the physical world, opposites attract, but in the etheric world, the same attracts. So it's like we're grouping together in these like minds and like hearts, regardless of what country we're from or what gender we are or what color we are or what religion, tradition, background, bloodline, none of that matters. Nothing in the physical matters. It's like we know each other. I do astrology charts and I get to see people from the very depths of their being. It's been the greatest learning experience of my life has been doing other people's charts. And then I'm aware that I'm doing charts for what I call anomalies. They're not supposed to be here. They're not part of the program. They don't fit in. They don't belong. And then when they find out, yes, I do fit in. Yes, I do belong. It's because we've been programmed with the wrong program. It's not that we don't fit in. The programming they're trying to impose upon us will never fit us. It just won't. We're different shape. We're a different size. We're light beings is what we are. We're consciously aware light beings. I call this place the Carnival. We're at the Carnival, right? You go in the door, it's nighttime, all the twinkling lights are on, and they're there to fleece you, but you can have a great time. Right? We're at the carnal veil. Carnal means flesh, and the flesh is the veil, right? It seems like for the past few decades, they've had us constantly in the horror house, right? We can't seem to get out of the nightmare. when there's the Ferris wheel of love and the roller coaster of life and the mirrors and the bumper cars. A lot of us are on bumper cars and we're just bumping into each other and we're going nowhere, right? You're just going nowhere, just spinning around in circles in this confined construct, and we don't know what to do. But just like at the carnival, the sun will come up, they'll pack up all their shit and leave and go to the next town. But for the meantime, they're here, right? I call them the carnies, right? Watch your pockets. They're that kind of thing.
Also, the snake skin or the snake tongue snake oils or the double
snake oil salesman.
Yeah, there you go.
Silver tongue devil, the snake oil salesman.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah, that too. But it can be fun. The food's great. Everybody loves carnival food. It's the one time you pig out and you cheat. You want cotton candy, right? You want the candied apples. You want the funnel cakes. And that's what they go for. Really, what we go for is the same reason we're here. You go there to be with the other people. You go there to be with each other. It's something we can share together. But literally, the powers that be have taken it, and most people are still stuck in the house of horrors or the freak show. You know, they've got something for everybody. Literally, they do it in a circle, just like the zodiac. It's set up just like the zodiac. To me, the zodiac is a giant magic circle. It's an alchemical circle. And alchemy's purpose is the philosopher's stone. It's turning lead to gold. It's bringing out the essence, the quintessence of a thing. And we are becoming. We don't evolve, we mutate. We transmutate in this magic circle. But they've corrupted that as well with what we call religion. Religion is a corruption of that magic circle.
Right, and I think it all started with Akhenaten.
Oh, wow. It started way, way, way before that. When you get into the depths of astrology, you really realize it goes back to the age of Sagittarius in the spring equinox. It's been 10 houses ago, almost over 20,000 years. That's when the fall happened, what they call the fall. And it's considered the illuminated mind. And that's why they call themselves the Illuminati. Now, they were wiped out during the flood, but the age of Gemini is opposite the age of Sagittarius. So they started over, right?
Guess what? I'm a Gemini, or supposed to be anyway.
Well, like I say on my channel, 5 out of every 6 people are on the wrong cross because of Western and tropical astrology. The horoscope that's given to the Westerners is off by over 24 degrees now because of a bump in the tsunami, threw everything off by another degree. It was 23.5 degrees. Now it's 24.5 degrees off. So every 5 out of 6 people have been given the wrong cross.
I just realized that. I remember 23.5 too.
It's 23.5. 23 is the W. That's the symbol for magic in the Egyptian hieroglyph. It is what we call the W is their symbol for magic. It's where the two V's become one. It's a double U. In the Roman, the U looks like a V. So it's a double U. We're our double, us and our higher self.
And our higher self is one entity.
It's one entity, in our mother's womb, when the egg is there, before it's fertilized, it is male and female. And then it's fertilized and it has to choose to be either male or female, and the other one dies, right?
And that's the separation of the waters, the chaotic waters of the creation.
Separation, that's where we're separated from our higher self. And our higher self, whichever one dies, goes to live in the third eye. And we are here. Your higher self would be female. My higher self would be male.
Yes, hence the reason why you're being masculine, and I'm crying my eyes out every day.
Yeah, I've always been somewhat masculine. I'm extremely feminine, but I was raised as a tomboy. And I'm a Capricorn, so I'm always going to have that. Even though Capricorn's a feminine sign, it's on the cardinal cross. So it's a very dominant sign. The cardinal cross dominates. They're the grand masters.
What's involved with doing a chart? Because I'm really curious as to what mine would be.
Well, I do a chart based on the fact that the Bible is an astrology book. It's not a religious book. And I decode it using alchemy. Alchemy is the key to religion and astrology and language.
Yep.
Alchemy is really the key to everything. So I do it based on an alchemical interpretation of the Bible. There are 3 crosses at Golgotha, and there are 3 crosses in the heavens. We've all been crucified and hang on one of those crosses. The mutable cross is the adept. The fixed cross is the master, and the cardinal cross is the grand master. It's a play on words. The Bible is a play on words, and alchemy decodes the Bible as a 100% astrology book.
Hence the reason for alienating the alchemical process and calling it the heresy or the bad, or you got to stay away from that, otherwise you're doomed to hell, right?
Absolutely. To me, the Old Testament is very Masonic. They're black and white words. They're Masonic. The Old Testament God of the burning bush is the God of cardinal fire in Aries. That's Mars. I call him the God of thou shalt not. He opposes Saturn, which is the God of Capricorn, or the God of let there be. Capricorn's motto is literally let there be. Or I do, or let do. So they're opposite of each other, but on the 2 masculine, one's feminine, one is masculine. So they oppose each other on the cardinal cross. Saturn is the God of creation, to where the New Testament, the red words in the New Testament are for the age of Aquarius.
Right, and that's the age we're
the
about
New
to
Testament
enter.
itself is a story of Pisces. Right. The story of the New Testament is the story of the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces Messiah was John the Baptist. He's the one that died, that you had to pass through the water, Pisces. Now, the red words are for the age of Aquarius. That's our Father who art in heaven. Air signs are heaven. Anytime you see heaven in the Bible, it's talking about either Libra and Venus, Gemini and Mercury and Gemini, or Saturn and Aquarius. There are 3 air signs, and the mutable, the fixed. The fixed one is what everybody's waiting on. It's the whole story is about those 4 fixed stars in the heavens. Everything starts that way. My background is linguistics. I didn't start out as an astrologer. I didn't even believe astrology. I thought it was hoopla, just like everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But as I studied different languages and old dead languages, and you try to trace them back to their root, they all seem to start in a family unit or a tribal unit, sitting around a circle of fire in the middle of the night with grandpa telling you the story of the stars. And no matter where you went, grandpa around the world, all grandpas were telling the same story.
Are you familiar with Stan Tenon's work?
No, I might be. I don't reflect me some of it, and let's see.
He's the one who figured out that Hebrew alphabet, the 27 letters in the Hebrew alphabet are actually shadows of.
Oh yeah, that's he's on the Merkaba Institute.
Yes.
Merca. Yeah, I'm familiar with that work.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Now, when you talk about Hebrew's a unique language. It's a language that came into being between 2 ages, right? It's between the age of Taurus and the age of Aries. All languages are broken down into what you call masculine or feminine. The feminine languages are very curvy. I call them the fire languages, like Arabic and some Hebrew. And then you have the masculine languages, which are the block letters, like Greek. Now, Hebrew itself is a mixture of Arabic and Greek. It's part curvy and it's part masculine. It's a blend. just like their symbol. The Star of David is two triangles interlocked,
Yep.
and it's a symbol for the age of Earth, which is a black triangle pointed down, and yellow fire, which is pointed up, the masculine over the feminine. The hexagram, or the two stars together, is always a symbol for the changing of the ages. Between Aries and Pisces, that's the story of the Game of Thrones. It's the battle of fire, Aries, and Pisces. That story's repeated 3 times, right? In the zodiac, the battle of fire and ice is repeated 3 times. And each time it's a little different, because you have a positive, a negative, and a neutral. So each time we repeat that story, there's a different outcome.
Right, in the physical.
And in the physical. Now, with the Game of Thrones, what they're showing us, again, they're putting us in the past. The Western and tropical astrology has put us in the past. It's 1,700 years old. The chart they use for tropical astrology was created exactly the same time as the Church of Nicaea put together what we call the Bible. And that's what it is. When you get to reading, like the book of Revelations tells you, this creature in heaven, and he had the face of a man and the face of an ox and the face of a lion and the face of an eagle. That's the fixed cross. Scorpio was an eagle, not a scorpion. The Romans took what we have is Greco-Roman, and they threw away their eagle and put a scorpion there. That's why Julius Caesar always runs around going, "Where's my eagle?" That's why that's generally the opening line for Julius Caesar. It's because they changed the constellation of Scorpio. But the book of Revelation tells you it's an eagle, and you're looking at the fixed cross. The Nag Hammadi calls the fixed cross the age of the immovable race of humanity, the unshakable race of humanity, those on the fixed cross. Taurus, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo.
Right.
The masters.
And everything you've just said is in line with what I've come to learn recently. And I tiptoe around the word believe now, because I've realized, like I said earlier, that I think when we dig our heels into what we think is, and I'm not saying that what you say is wrong, I'm just saying, because everything you said is right, and I'm not saying it's wrong at all. And what I've come to realize, and when I came across your video tonight, and I reached out to you so adamantly, and I appreciate you for coming back at me with the same fervor I came at you, because it's very important that we get this message out for people to realize, and people can take from this what they will, but and you and me as well, because I think this interaction right here we're having is exactly what creation is. I mean, the opposites and the likes, and people need to really think about what's going on in their lives, in society as a whole, because what's reflected in society is what's going on in our minds. Right?
Yes.
Would you agree with that?
Yes. In the middle of the word believe is la. The age of Pisces is I believe. It requires blind faith. To believe something with no evidence requires blind faith. The age of Aquarius is about knowing. That means we're going to have the evidence. And that evidence comes from your higher self. That's when you have truth. You're not going to find truth outside of yourself. You can find confirmation of the truth, but the truth is within.
God,
and
give me goosebumps, Lavette. Goosebumps.
The Christ told us to know thyself. He said, if thine eye be full of light, the whole body's full of light. But if thine eye be dark, oh, how at the darkness for the rest of your body, right? We're either, and that's a different illuminated mind. That's the higher self. To me, that's the only one that can save you. There is no salvation outside of self. There is no external Messiah. It comes from within. The power is within. To me, your third eye or your pineal gland is like your cell phone to God.
Hmm.
or the source, right?
Correct.
Your
I
higher
totally believe that. And you know
your
what?
higher self is
You know what that light
standing
from the
with
pineal
yours.
gland is shaped as?
What is it shaped as?
A cross.
To me, when I experienced it, it was, I call it the land of milk and honey, liquid love. It was this gold, white, liquid light, and it was just love, and it just kept pouring wave after wave over me. It was the most euphoric thing I've ever experienced. And I'm a product of the 60s, so I spent my time in the cow field with mushrooms and all kind of stuff. I realized by the time I was about 20 that drugs are altered states of consciousness only made me want the real thing more. I knew that they were just a glimpse, just a shadow of what the third eye and that inner love really is. You're not going to find milk and honey anywhere else. You might
Right.
find rainbow colors and twinkle stars, but the only place you're going to find euphoria, paradise, is within.
And that's the same feeling you get when you do an act of kindness for somebody and it feels good and the upwelling comes from your stomach and comes up into your chest and you feel good about it. And
That's, yeah, yourself is patting you on the back.
yes,
It is
awesome.
far more greater, a good feeling to give. I've always been a giver. I didn't know how to receive. And that was one of my lessons, was to learn to receive. And I didn't know, I was terrible at it. I felt unworthy. And that was my first mistake, is I'm not unworthy. We're all worthy to receive. You are loved more than you could ever imagine. Love is almost a dirty word today. What people use for the word love is lust. If it's about the flesh, it's lust, because love is a verb. It's something you do. And when you do an act of kindness, you are doing love. And that's what's going to make each of our lives better. My newest revelation is a little on that track, but a little greater. I have found that being grateful, having a mindset that says, I'm grateful for the little things, I'm grateful for the trials and tribulations, has opened up doors and even helped me in my journey on learning to receive. I didn't do well with compliments or gifts or any of that. I didn't learn how growing up. Nobody ever gave me anything. I was always expected to be the one that gave, but if I needed, it wasn't there. So it was receiving. We all must learn to not only give, but to receive as well.
Right there is confirmation for me. You've re-established in my mind that, because right now I'm in my journey to being reunited with Source or God, is being, because right now I feel unworthy. Like, who am I to
Oh
have
yeah,
this knowledge? You
yeah.
know?
Who am I? I felt the same way. I'm nobody. I'm
Yes.
aware I'm a nobody, right?
Right. That's how I feel.
I'm female. I'm a half breed. I'm just everything that society says is worthless. I'm a deplorable, useless eater, right?
Hmm.
But uh, it's more than just receiving for yourself. When you don't receive when another's giving, then you're blocking them from their receiving good karma for their kindness. Not only are you supposed to receive, it needs to be done gratefully, honorably, respectfully, and realizing that they in turn will receive because they gave, right? They're giving to receive their gift, and we give and give in return. My grandmother always told me, never look a gift horse in the mouth, Lavette. If somebody gives you something, you take it, because if you don't need it, somebody will appear in your life very soon that will need exactly what you have.
And
And
I
that,
got to point out something right now, because I got a friend of mine that his name is Jerry Runk, and he's battling the 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 big C right now, and I'm trying to get him to realize that none of that really matters, because we are forever, and we need to make the. Do you believe? But I mean, Jerry, right there, what she just said about, because he always brought to me the thought And he's another one that I met online recently that he came off as a oddball, you know, and his appendix burst. And I've got a couple of questions about that for you right now. And what is your, or how old were you when your appendix burst? And
11.
you were
I was
11.
11.
That's a pretty significant number as well. I was 13, but and then there was another one that I see, and I suffer from ADD. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, where my thoughts are just everywhere.
Oh yeah,
And I don't figure it out until later, you know.
You know, in astrology, that comes off as a Mercury retrograde, or sometimes if it's toward the depressive state of ADD, where you get the depression, that's generally a Mars retrograde in your natal chart.
Yeah,
I don't think that it's not a matter of medication. It's a matter of how do you channel that energy. When it's all in your mind like that, that almost sounds like a Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius, right? So you want to clear the mind. You have to channel the Mercurian energy.
yes,
He's quicksilver, right?
right. And it's weird you said that Mercury thing because I did some geometria. Or have you delved into that at all?
Yeah, I let the people that do the numbers. I'm familiar with gematria,
Mhm.
but in the alchemical tradition of gematria, there are no vowels. So I know that when I'm doing the online calculators, that regardless, they're going to show a pattern, right?
Right,
Vowels or no vowels, the pattern's going to be the same. But
right.
a lot more information is revealed linguistically when you do the gematria without the vowels. But yeah, numbers. Uh, I leave the numbers to the number people because I started with the alphabet. To me, and the alphabet in the ancient languages is alphanumerical. I
Right.
even got in a big argument with a really big YouTuber that does the numbers. And he just completely went off on me one day. And I said, that's okay. It's okay. Because I'm aware that what he's doing and what I'm doing are exactly the same thing, and
Yes.
that those paths are going to cross. We're
Mhm.
going to come to the same conclusion,
Right.
right? He's all fired up and pissed right now, but that's okay. Just let him alone. He's doing his thing, and he'll eventually come to the same conclusion I have. And so, yeah, everything's connected to everything else. There's very little I haven't covered. I've always had a thirst for knowledge. I imagine I always will. I give everything a benefit of the doubt. I'm going to check it out and see what it's about, unless it's what I call fear mongering. If
Right.
information I'm watching is vibrating on the lower chakra frequencies, oh, that's just distraction. I'm not, I know the source of that, and I'm not going there because it's just going to make me angry or piss me off or hurt my feelings or
Mhm.
cause me to have doubt. Um, you know, we're supposed to plant seeds of love in the heart. But the enemy, he plants seeds of doubt in the mind. And this place to me, anything is possible uh, as long as there's no doubt. Doubt is all it takes. That's all it takes. It's like a jury. All you got to have is that one instant of doubt, and then it's all over. You need a solid truth to be able to manifest in this reality.
That was my question. I knew if I let you talk long enough, you would bring me to it. The truth. What is the truth to you? There's only one truth to me.
The truth to me is built into the word itself. And within the word truth is the cross of Ruth. And Ruth is an encoded alchemical word that means the red cross. It's the fixed red cross. It's the 4 points on that zodiac wheel that divide the 4 eons of time. We have ages and eons, and we're not only changing ages, we are changing eons. We're going to go from the second chakra, Jupiter Pisces, to the crown chakra, Saturn in Aquarius. We're going to be so different, like night and day
Well,
between
it's going to be like
this past
hindsight.
age.
It's going to be like hindsight's 2020, right?
Yes, 2020 is going to wake up a lot of hindsight for people. The Saturn Jupiter conjunction on the winter solstice with Pluto there, Pluto representing that subconscious mind. And when Saturn and Jupiter meet, the door to the Black Lodge opens. The Black Lodge is the subconscious mind. And there's going to be Pluto. And a lot of people are going to manifest monsters of the id, from Forbidden Planet. You remember that? The monsters of
Yes.
the id?
Yes, I know.
That's what's
I
going to
don't know
happen in
exactly what
20.
you're talking about, but somehow in me, I know exactly what you're talking about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just watch the movie Forbidden Planet and you'll understand what monsters of the id are. But we have an opportunity that if we can deal with our shadow work and the dark side of ourself and do our own homework, then in 2020, we can manifest our daydreams instead of our nightmares. And we get the chance for this every 20 years. Every 20 years, Saturn and Jupiter meet. It's really the biggest secret in Catholicism. All of the iconography in Catholicism, you see the saints and the Christ, and they're all holding up two fingers. When you hold up the index finger and the middle finger, that's Saturn and Jupiter. And when they meet, and it sets the stage for the next generation, for the next 20 years. And it rotates from masculine, feminine. The power shifts from Saturn to Jupiter, back and forth. Saturn represents the etheric spiritual world, and Jupiter represents the physical world. And Saturn represents time, and Jupiter represents location.
Yes.
And that's being in the right place at the right time, when time and space come together. And that event marked every 19.2 years.
Well, you're familiar with the cycles in the cycles analogy, the Ezekiel's wheel and all of that.
Oh, that's what the wheels within wheels are. It's the
Yes.
cycles that are within cycles. And
Yes.
that's what
For
we
some
need
reason,
to
I
pay
always
attention.
start at the big and go down. I don't know why, but when I first made contact with you, I had said something about the cross conjunction, and I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong or you missed it or what, but on January 13th of 2020, it must be the marking of the age or the switch, but there's a cross conjunction of Venus on one side, Mars on the other, to our right and left, and Earth at the top of the cross. And the opposites are everything, right? And
Yeah,
Pluto being at the
duality.
other end of the cross, but in between there are the three planets of Ceres,
Yeah,
Ceres,
Cirrus. Yeah.
Saturn, and or first it's Mercury right after the Sun, and then Ceres, and then Saturn and Pluto. And
These planets go around and around and around this circle, and all of these conjunctions have happened before, and they'll all happen again. Um, my biggest problem with astrology, one, astrology is based on an ancient science or an ancient art, and they did not set up astrology the way we look at it with computers, right? We're able to hover above the zodiac and see where everybody's at. It was what's on the horizon, what's in the night sky. But these types of alignments never meant anything. Um, I go through this constantly. Last year with the September thing where the Virgin's in the sky and all of this,
yeah,
and they don't have a clue what they're talking about. They was telling you the Messiah was coming. Everybody's screaming rapture. For one, it was Jupiter there, and Jupiter is Satan. He's Jupiter. Christ told Jupiter, "Get thee behind me, Satan." So Satan is the god of this world age, Pisces. Jupiter is Satan, not Saturn. That is part of the programming. They're demonizing Saturn. And he uses Mars and Aries to help him do it through religion. But all this, these conjunctions and everything like that, these lineups, the only thing that really triggers is magnetic forces here. It can shift the magnetics, and you can get stuff like earthquakes. Um, uh, if the moon's involved, water's going to be involved. If Mars is involved, it can be volcanic. If one of the Earth Saturn, Mercury, and Venus rule earth signs. You have to take in the variables in alchemy of what do these planets represent, and then you add all that together, and then you can come up with what might happen on that day, right?
That's
But
exactly what I was getting at. Yeah, exactly.
the rest of it, all the hype, that's coming from a place to trigger fear in you.
Correct.
And I don't go there. I don't go there.
Yeah, I'm not trying to trigger fear. I'm trying to say it's a divine union. You know, it's actually what you said at the beginning of our talk, and because Sirius is the god of grain, you know, plentitude.
Actually, that's part of the traditions of men. In alchemy, Saturn rules agriculture, period. It's like in tropical astrology, they'll tell you Uranus rules Aquarius. We've only known about Uranus for 200 years. They want to tell you that Neptune rules Scorpio. That's not true. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, the outer planets, they're more like the destinies or the fates, and they don't rule any constellation, nor are they connected to your chakras. They're generational markers. Their alchemy is very slow. If you live to be very old, you might get one Pluto return in your life, maybe. So this alchemy here, Pluto is the subconscious mind. Uranus is the conscious mind, and Neptune is the imagination. Pluto works with Saturn in the etheric world and the subconscious mind. Uranus, the conscious mind, works with Jupiter in the physical world, and Neptune, the imagination, is the middleman between Saturn and Jupiter. To manifest into the physical, Jupiter, you start in the etheric, Saturn with the imagination, Neptune. And
Right.
that's the way they work. What we're given is freaking the astrology that's handed out today is as bad as religion. It's been bibble babbled. It's been scribbled. I always said the scribes scribbled the scriptures and gave us Bible, bibble, babble at Babylon. And they've done it by dividing the languages. When you take everything back to root, it all goes back to the dividing of the tongues. And that's how they manipulate us, control us. The names of the stars in Arabic are reversed for the names of the stars in Greek and alchemically. Just throw away the vowels, the consonants are the same. The heavens is a script. The consonants are the constellations, and the vowels are variable. They're the planets. They move around. In Arabic, Abraham is not Abraham. He's Ibrahim. It starts with an I. All they changed was the vowels. The name remains the same. It's BRM. And the Sanskrit, that's Brahma. Abraham, Brahma, Ibrahim, they're all the same thing. That's all alluding metaphorically to the same thing.
To the light, to the illumination, to the divine union.
Well, Brahma to the Sanskrit, Hindi people, that's the sun. Mm-hmm. It's the sun in the sky.
Yeah, it's the illumination, the divine union in essence, from what I've seen and what I've learned recently. You know, like I said, I've seen that movie. I don't know if you've seen it. I didn't get your answer, but A Star is Born. And
I've seen the original. I have not seen the new one.
Okay, well, the new one, it has Lady Gaga, and she's said to have has esoteric and occult knowledge. And we all know what occult is, and that just means the, you know, hidden information or unrevealed information. And from bricks, or from clay, we build bricks. From bricks, we build pyramids. And pyramids become diamonds when capped from above. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand what that means?
Yeah, the future is built on the past.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it.
Metaphorically, that's what you would say. To me, it's like the Sphinx. The Sphinx is the fixed cross to me. It is the body of the lion, which is Leo, and then the face of the man, Aquarius. That's the fixed cross. The three pyramids do not represent Orion. They represent the triple star system of Fomalhaut, the sun eye, the moon eye, and then the third eye. All the stars in Aquarius in the Greek talk about the brain and the parts of the brain alluding to the third eye. The story of the stars in Aquarius in Arabic tells you the story of a king. Each culture around the world has a piece of the story for each constellation called star lore, and everybody got a piece. Osiris's body was cut up into a bunch of pieces, and
How many pieces?
spread around the world, where everybody's
72,
got a
right?
piece. Yes, to me, 72. 72 is the number. 72, the human mouth makes 72 sounds. The sun moves 1 degree in the heavens every 72 years. Um, Literally, we only live in 1 degree of the sun. You know, we live to be about 70 or so. We live 1 degree of the sun. The sun, to move from one age to another, takes 3 degrees. The last degree of a sign, the middle degree they share, and then the degree of the other sign. That's 216 years. 216 is the number of God to the Jews. If you have a circle and you subtract 216, that leaves you 144.
Yep.
144 and 216 makes the perfect circle.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Are you familiar with squaring a circle?
I'm familiar with alchemy and hermetics completely. I've spent 10 years on occult.biz before it got taken over and then shut down. And also, I moved into a house on the Indian reservation that had a trunk in it that was full of old alchemy books. And
Nice.
I spent about 5 or 6 years going through all of those. And that was a Mormon Mason. He was a Mormon Mason stuff I found. And I even had the handwritten journals where they had come to America and then crossed over into the Indian nation to establish a homestead. I had it all. I read it all. And I didn't understand it. I spent 10 years in alchemy going, this just don't make sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And then one day it just clicked for me because everything in alchemy keeps pointing back to astrology, right? Turning lead to gold, turning Saturn to the sun. It took me a while to figure it out, but when it clicked. And I realized the zodiac is the same thing as a magic circle in alchemy. It is a magic circle. It has the 4 elements of nature: earth, water, fire, air. It has them in their relative states of solid, liquid, gas, or mutable, fixed, cardinal. It's just a play on words.
Okay,
Alchemy
so
is
my next question.
chemistry, is
Sorry.
astrology, it's nature.
My next question is you're familiar with the underworld concept of Egypt then?
Yes. Here's what I understand about Egypt that people don't understand. Because they built the age of the age of Taurus on top of the age of Leo. Before the flood, what we call Egypt was Babylon. It's the symbol of the lion. Within Cairo, you can look this up. The information's still out there. The Babylon fortress is in what we call Cairo. Now, after the flood, we were in the age of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, and he rules navigation, communication, logic, intelligence, and it's when everybody went all over the world to remap the earth, right? You got to find the lost places, and they done that by the stars, and they done it by the fixed stars on the fixed cross. And then we move into the age of Taurus, which is fixed earth. And they built it, and they have reascribed everything in Egypt to try to make it fit Orion. And they have rejected. To me, Fomalhaut is the stone the builders rejected. The Masons built Aries on top of Babylon, and they had a right to do it because they're both fire signs. And it was Asia ruled at that time before the flood. What we call North Africa actually sat in a perimeter that was ascribed to the fire signs. Every race and every culture got an element and a variable of it. The water signs is ruled by Europe, Arctica, and Antarctica. The earth signs, fixed earth is Taurus. Mutable Earth is Australia, and Cardinal Earth is North America. The air signs, Libra was South America. Now it is going to be Aquarius. Gemini is India. That was the age of air. You can denote the people in their cultures when they had feathers. If they had feathers in their tradition, that represented an air sign. Feathers on the feet, Mercury in Gemini. Feathers on the back, that's Libra, right? Angels is nothing but a symbolic feather on the body telling you we're talking about the air sign of Libra. But then Aquarius is, they had the feathers on the head for the crown chakra of Saturn. So the Native Americans wore the feather on their head. And where's the feather tells you fixed mutable cardinal, tells you solid liquid gas. The alchemical table of elements is the exact same as our elemental table in chemistry. They're the
Okay,
same.
Lavette, I've got two things I want you to do. So, and then we'll have a conversation tomorrow. Will you do it for me if you have time? If not,
I don't know if I'll have time tomorrow.
okay.
Actually, I should be asleep. I've been awake for about a day and a half now.
So have I. That's so weird because I plowed last night. I plowed snow. We had a bunch of snow here, and I live in northern Minnesota or middle Minnesota, and it's going to be like 40 degrees below zero tomorrow. But
my sympathies. I'm in Las Vegas. It's beautiful.
oh wow. But yeah, it's weird because I've been up that long too. I mean, I had a 20-minute nap, and I got up, and I was compelled to find you, I guess.
I was compelled to make the video. I did. I was on my way to go to sleep, and I had just like 3 emails in a row that were asking me the exact same thing. So I thought, well, let me make a quick video here because I'm being told to, right? 3 in a row. And okay, I can put 20 minutes in here. That's gone to about 4 hours now.
I'm sorry. Okay, I got
that's okay.
I got 2 things to say, honey, and you're an open-minded person. And
okay.
2 things here. Now, the way I see it, what you've said is all true, and I came to the same conclusions. I've not read anything in my life as far as any. I went to Bible camp when I was a kid just because it was summer camp and it was free, or it was near free, and I was poor. You know, my family was poor or whatever. But I've never really been indoctrinated with any dogma or any belief as far as you know, anything, really, literally anything. The only book I've read 50 something times now is Emerald Tablets of Thought. Now, I see things in a grander scale of what you just said. Like everything you said is like the cycles within. You know what I mean?
Right. Macros, micros.
Right. And I see it now as, because like I said, I start at the big, which the big is the finite in my opinion, because that's what the square and squaring the circle is it's the alchemical symbol for the infinite exists within the finite, meaning that our ineffable spirit is God or source, whatever you want to call it, and it is us. We're just appendages or nerve endings for that entity to experience through a physical form.
That is correct. We are, I call it, we're a thought in the mind of God.
Right, the logos.
We're simply a thought. The word logos actually means symbol.
Yes.
If you want to say logos, they say power, but the power is in the symbol.
And then comes vibration, and then comes polarity, and then comes rhythm, and then comes cause and effect, and then comes gender, and then comes mentalism, which creates the thought. And then it starts all over again. Let that maturate, you know, let that soak in.
Yeah, that's how manifestation works.
That's exactly how I see it, and I'm trying to get the little nuances so I can make the connection, because I believe once we realize what creation is in every form, from what we read, what we see on TV, to what we use, to our relationships, to how we talk, everything has that same cycle, that same hermetic principle to it, everything.
Sure. Yes.
And I think once we wrap our minds around that, we can really do great things, and we are magic.
You know, Gemini, ruled by Mercury, that's all about hermetics. Um, Aquarius, also an air sign ruled by Saturn, is about astrology. And the other air sign, Libra, ruled by Venus, is about the occult hidden wisdom of the heavens.
Wow, you've
It's
given me goosebumps, and I
all
love it.
air, all three air signs are the same. They're just variables of the same thing.
Well,
You
I
have
think I think me and you are going to be
you
new
started.
best friends for some reason. So, you know, I thank you very much, very
I'll
much.
have to take a look at your chart. You'll have to email me your birthday and I'll at least put you on the right cross. Right now, I'm really overbooked and behind on charts. I'm currently actually not accepting any new requests, but I'd like to at least put you on the right cross. That
It's
way,
in the email I sent you right away, just so you would call me if you had a phone. The very first email I
okay.
sent you, I put all that information in there.
I know it freaks out people that I don't have a phone, but I literally don't have anybody to talk to. It just seems ridiculous to pay all that money, and I'm not a talker. And if I have to use a phone, I can go to the office. Actually, Las Vegas is one of the few places I've been that still have phone booths. Why I
What,
don't
really?
know. Yes, isn't that weird?
You know what?
Yes.
I thought they took away the phone because of the 9/11 thing. You know, and that was the last time I ever thought of anything there against us, because some reason I inherently know this stuff, and I have no reason why I have no clue as to why I know it. You know, because I
I
think
found that everything I've ever learned, eventually I am going to use it. Ironically enough, we think we learned a bunch of shit we're not going to use, but somewhere in your life, when you least expect it, there it is. And yeah, I don't know why I do that either. I'm in that same boat.
I thank you. I thank you very much, and get some sleep because I got to get some sleep.
Yeah. Maybe the next time we can both be a little bit more coherent. I'm almost what you call sleep drunk. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, sometimes I think that's better though, because then I don't know. Sometimes I think that's just,
Natural.
it's your true self, who you are. You're not holding anything back, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. Inebriated. You're
Right.
separation. You're inebriated.
Right.
That's funny. I want to mention this because I've had this on my mind for a few days now, and I've been meaning to make
I
a
know what you're
video
gonna say,
about it.
but say it.
And it's
I know what you're gonna say. Something
about sleep. It's about sleep.
oh,
Um,
okay.
we're under the assumption that we eat food for energy. When I eat food, I'm tired. I
Hmm.
sleep. I sleep for energy. We do not eat for energy. They've lied to us, because when I eat, man, I'm tired. I just want to take a nap. But if I take a nap, whether I've eat or not, I'm re-energized.
You ever
There's
sun
something
gaze?
about sleep. Oh my goodness, yes. Me and the sun have arguments. The sun is a living. I remember him. This is how we get into the body. If you haven't seen my video letter to Joan, I talk about where I come from, how we get in the body, and how I freaked out being put in the body. I've never been in a body. I don't know about the rest of you. I'm not reincarnated. This is my first trip here. And if I have my way, it will be my last, because I definitely remember before I was born, and this human experience in this physical world is all brand new to me. I was traumatized. I
I think we
just
all are
coming
when we
into
come
the
out of
body.
that tunnel.
Yeah, when you come into the body, it's the trauma is separation, because we're individuals, but we do come from a collective, a we. We're we. You're not separate from your higher self. We're we.
Right.
And to be separate, and I was all alone in this body, and I was ready to commit suicide. I was suicidal at 5. I was ready to go, and I knew how you got out was to kill the body. That's what I knew.
Right.
And so
But hey, I've got a new thing that it never made sense to me until now. If you die before you die, when you die, you don't die.
that's right.
And I think if you can only make a connection with God or source when you're alive. You can't do it when you're
That's
dead.
right. When you're dead, if you haven't made that connection, that's what I think reincarnation or the recycle is. You got to come back
Thank
and do
you.
it again. You
Yes.
goofed off in school. Now you got to go to summer school or repeat the year.
Yes.
Your choice.
Yes.
Uh, if you're given a second chance, take summer school. Who wants to do this ride on the carnival again? Me, I'm
I
looking.
like breathing and farting. I love being here because I think it's it's a process of I believe I've been here millions of times, but that's just me. But I don't know. I think I enjoy the the quest. You know.
Yeah, I have learned to enjoy the journey. I have found uh, n- sadness and sorrow and joy as well. Um, me, I was ready to check out at 5. I literally, I was going to starve myself to death. And that's when I opened my third eye. And I fell into that land of milk and honey, and I wanted to stay there. And I had every intentions of staying there. I wasn't coming back here, but I was convinced. He touched my heart. He told me that there were 4 other children suffering the same thing I was, and that if I cared so little for the life I was given, then why don't I give it for a cause? That he stood in the gap for me between life and death. I should stand in the gap for them, and that's what I've really been trying to do the whole time.
You're
Is
beautiful for
I'm
it.
standing the gap, and I'm taking as many with me. I used to wake people up, right? I can show you, I can prove it to you, I can wake you up, but then their paradigms come down. And if you can't take away the lie, if they aren't able to receive the truth, because then they have nothing, and you wreck their whole worlds, and then you're karmically responsible for that, right? You're responsible by karma for destroying this person's illusion. It's their illusion to destroy. And
I think
so,
that's a cross you need to let go, sweetheart, because I don't think that's on you. And
well, no, what you do is you just plant the seed. All
Yeah,
we are supposed to do is plant the seed. When we step into what I call evangelism, then you're playing the Holy Spirit. That's not your job. That's
right,
the Holy Spirit's job. You want to call something blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, that's what I'd call it.
right.
But that's his job to convict you. All I need to do is lovingly plant that seed and move along.
You're
If you want to cuss me
planting
tonight,
many
it's
of them,
fine.
and too bad there isn't many more like you online
There
because
will be.
oh, I'm
There
sure
will
there will.
be. The generations that are coming are just incredible. They're going to be off the charts.
Right.
I'm really excited about the ages that are coming, the
Let's get together. Let's
generations.
get together real soon and really, I mean, we've done this for an hour and a half. It seems like 15
Yeah,
minutes. And,
I know it just seems like we've been talking. I was going to say about 20 minutes. Just make you a list. Put my name on a list, and when you think of something, just write it down. And when we get together again, we'll go over it.
All right. Thank you, honey. I love you.
I love you too.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.